You're listening to another episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is the place where you're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
All right, we're back in the saddle today. We're back normal schedule. Taylor did his duty as an American and a Texan and went to jury duty. And how did that go for you?
I didn't get picked, thankfully.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, it's amazing. We all want to do those duties, but let somebody else do them. Anyway, but you were there all day.
I got to run your show.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Priorities, right?
Yeah, priorities, yeah. I'm sure the judge would have been very impressed with that response. But anyway, today we have Collin Gregory here with the Burleson Police Department, the Community Resource. And
hello.
He brought Jay Davis with him. He's going to talk about the COPS program, the Citizens on Patrol, and among other things. And then we're, going to just have a general conversation about what the program does and how people can become involved in it. And he's also, I think, brought a presentation of sorts. Is this a presentation you bring to other meetings, groups, whatever?
It can be. To be fair, we just so I've got some notes on this, and Collin helped me put together this presentation for your show. So it's certainly something that we can use.
Well, good. But it's always interesting to me because I had students they would get in that. What was the program called? Explorers, right? Sure. And so they get involved in that, and they do the ride-alongs, whatever else. But this is more not so much for kids or not kids. They were seniors in high school. I think that there was some sort of age minimum for them. It couldn't be like a 12-year-old could ride along with you, but I think you had to be at least 17 and a senior. But this is something all citizens can do, regardless.
As long as you're over the age of 18.
And I assume some sort of background check.
Background checks are completed, yes, sir.
Doggone it. Well, Taylor's out then. Anyway.
Hey, we'll do our best to get you in, Brad.
Thank you. Well, I have a story about that, but it's too long. But the short answer is when I was trying to help my son get a driver's license, they pulled up on the computer and said, "Oh, you can't be eligible to teach your son." And I go, "Well, why not?" Well, according to this, you have a drunk driving arrest record. And I looked on there, and according to that computer, my name was Juan Molina of Mineral Wells, Texas, age 65 or something like that. Now, I don't know. The name, it was an Hispanic name, so that wasn't really the name, but it was an Hispanic man about 65, and at the time, like a 45, and I said, "That's not me. Here's my driver's license." "Oh, we don't do that." "I'm here at the DMV, and I wouldn't even use their own license they issued me." "What do you mean? You tell me you don't use this when?" "Oh, no, we use this."
Juan, that's a very interesting story.
That's right, yeah. Well, a few months later, when I was going to work on a committee for the state of Texas, they called me up and said, "Well, we'll do a background check." And I told them this story, and I said, "Who doesn't use a driver's license?" It didn't matter. Down here in Austin, if we busted everybody that had a DUI, we'd have 9 people working for the state. So it went pretty smooth.
Mr. Molina's neighborhood does have a good ring to it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
sure.
That's a pseudonym. I don't know, but I just thought, whatever. I digress. Let's talk about the sponsors. Doggone it. First of all, I think Otto at our place. I bet you've been there for Officer Davis
once or twice.
I know he really appreciates having the police officers there. We have breakfast every other Thursday there with my Sunday school group, and there's always Crowley and Fort Worth and Burleson PD in there, and sheriff's department from both counties and whatever else. I mean, it's a great place to go have breakfast because you got a lot of armed personnel around you. Sure. So if anyone wants to rob the joint at 6:30, they're in bad luck. And also, Gina's Pizza will be opening up very soon. He put out a post. Otto put out a post yesterday that is going to be looking for still some kitchen staff and servers. So if you're looking for a job, talk to Otto. He's a really, really good employer. A lot of those people at our place have been there a long time.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. That's at the screens, and he put me up there, and big shot.
I'm actually really impressed that we have Mr. Allard's Neighborhood and Friends on at the same time.
Well, both are very entertaining, no doubt. Friends. I mean, I remember when that show came on, all the kids want to have Rachel hair or whatever, even some of the dudes. But anyway, There you go. Anyway,
honestly, I'd take Rachel Hare right now. So.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay. Also, Wild Cigar and Culture. Oops, turn down the phone. See, I still do this. Wild Cigar and Culture. They got a lot going on. They have, I believe Mr. McAnally is going to be on the 28th for a meet and greet. So I'd throw that out there. See, the 28th will be a Monday, I believe. And no, what's the 28th?
What day's the eclipse?
The 8th of April. The 28th. Oh,
so you're
a couple of days from now. So
Thursday. Yeah, okay. It's been a long day.
That's the only Monday I remember. Right?
Yeah, Wild Cigar and Culture. Anyway, so if you want to go meet Mr. McAnally, that'll be a good place to do it. And it's a good place to get a drink, good place to get a cigar, good place to buy gift certificates for those. Even if you're not a cigar smoker yourself, you probably know one. So it's a good place to get gift cards and whatnot. Father's Day is coming. I mean, it's way off, but still it's coming. Or buy a gift card and have a smoke on Eclipse Day.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know the city's doing some big stuff on the city.
They are out at the plaza. Mm-hmm. We'll have a nice little BPD booth out there as well. So
I will because we're not having a show that day, so Taylor can do some filming. So, and he's doing. He's. I'm sharing this with various people here.
Don't film directly into the sun.
I mean, I might have bought toys, so I can.
Yes, I know. Also, thank you to Tiffany Nico over at Local Life. The magazine will be out next week. I don't know what's on the cover yet, but we'll figure it out. It's a great magazine. It goes to 30,000 homes. It goes to a lot of retail establishments, multiple copies. So if you go and you're waiting on something like a car being fixed or whatnot at retail, or waiting at a restaurant like our place or Gina's, they'll have multiple copies there. So you get a lot of eyeballs there. It really is a good magazine. I mean, they do good articles. They do good pictures and whatnot. I got to make sure I got one. I know that Jackie Jones wants to make sure that I have them shared. I believe I do. Okay, good. All right. Also, Southern Gym, or is there a Mrs. Davis, Mr. Davis?
There is.
They got to take Mrs. Davis here to Southern Gym.
Okay.
And what I like about this place, you take the wife there. I mean, they have men's jewelry there too, but it's mostly women's jewelry. But you go there and they have a place for the men to sit and watch the TV. They usually have something like HTTV or something like that. And you can have a Dr. Pepper or you can have a beer. I mean, so it's a good place. And when they're open during sports, you'll have the ball game on. So it's a nice place. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a good idea.
So they cater to the crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, on May 4th, which is also Election Day, it's also going to be Kentucky Derby Day, and they do a real big deal on Kentucky Derby. Gail is a real big horse enthusiast and all that, so they're going to have, Robin's looking for, my wife works there, and so they're going to have hats and dresses, and they're going to have bourbon and all this. It's going to be nice.
Kentucky Derby and Star Wars all on the same day.
And also Lisa Schwartz has her City on the Hill that day. So
wow. Yeah.
It's going to be a busy day. Also, thank you to Two Maids with Brenda Ramirez. It's twomaidscleaning.com/Burleson. Or you can call her at 817-764-0733. And what we like about her business is you pay based on your satisfaction, not just some set fee. And so you rate how well satisfied you are with the job they did, and that's how the people get paid. And they do both homes and commercial. They do the Windmiller building. And they do several. Okay. She is in my BNI group, as is Gail, as is the next two sponsors, and several of our BNI people, the networking group I'm in, they use her, and they think they're the best they ever had.
That's awesome.
So it really is good. Thank you also to OPRO Roofing. John was disappointed that the storm passed. Doggone it.
I mean,
well, he got
sorry, John.
Yeah. Well, they do all over the DFW area, so it's not just here in Burleson. They go. He has this whole area. He went as far as Prosper and Allen the other day. So they do a lot of stuff, but it is a home-based business, which I like because I like having these kind of people, like a roofer, that you know where to find them.
Yeah.
And they're going to.
They got our business.
Well, yeah, and they're part of the community, so they want to maintain their reputation, so they're not going to be hit and run. But call John at 817-734-2756. And he'll check out your roof and he'll tell you yes or no. He won't try to upsell you. He came and checked out my roof about 5 months ago and said your roof's fine. And, he didn't say, well, my God, I don't know how it's still standing, all this routine. Also, Camco, mortgage brokers. I was there just a couple of days ago. They moved their offices. They're still in that B&G complex, but now they have an office right on top of that Texas Security title.
Okay. Yeah.
And and Candy has a nice view, second floor, overlooks Fish City and all that. But anyways, Candy is at 817-925-2661. Sammy Campbell's 817-778-4592. If you want to do a little refinancing, you want to finance your first home, talk to them because they really do a good job. They've done it for me twice in other places in the last 20-something years, and they're just good folks. Do we have any nonprofit stuff going on? I know Thursday we get to talk to Megan and Summer at Next Step, and they have something going on. I also would point out to the show we had last week. Also, last Monday, a week ago yesterday, we talked to 3 ladies for the Amanda Mann Clark Project, which was a program talking about colorectal cancer. And they got an event coming on. So check out their site, check out their Facebook page because they got it's at the end of April, and so it's there to help raise awareness and money for that program. And speaking of programs, let's talk about cops. Okay, now the Citizens on Patrol. How long have you been part of this?
So I've been part of this program for just about a year now. I came over the program last year, probably about March or April, somewhere in there. And what we try to do, and our cops actually starts with our Citizen Police Academy. Before you can even get into the cops program, you start with CPA. So if we can probably go back to
here we are.
Our CPA, yes, Citizen Police Academy. So
right, you're talking about the group that Christy Gilbert and Vicki McElroy were talking about last Thursday. So this ties in really nicely.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and they're with the program, and Vicki's actually I'm the PD coordinator liaison, but she's pretty much the coordinator of the program. Let's be frank, right?
Right.
She does a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to her because she's usually watching.
So. She'll be here. Yeah, I could tell who's watching sometimes when they. Like the Scotts, Larry and Sherry are watching, so they say hey.
Well, hey.
Well, hello.
Yeah. But the Christy Gill was talking about it, and it sounded like these people really do put a lot of time in it. This isn't like just joining some group that you can put down on the resume kind of thing. Right. It's a commitment.
Absolutely.
So, yes, as far as the cops program goes, yes, it is a commitment. Our volunteers are amazing at what they do, and they do commit a lot of time to it. But we do start with the Citizen Police Academy, and that's kind of how you get involved. The Citizen Police Academy itself is its own program by itself, and what it does is it strives to help anybody who joins this program learn about the police department. And as we can see here, we learn about the PD, the functions and the capabilities of it, why we function the way that we do for certain things. So if you have any questions about the police department and why it functions the way it does, then this might be something that you'd like to sign up for. It's a program that runs from June through July, once a week. This year we're doing it every Thursday.
Okay.
From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we've got a bunch of different, we'll have a bunch of different instructors lined up to talk to you about all the different facets of the police department. Some of the things that we talked about last year, we had our public safety communicators come down and speak with us. We talked about use of force, critical issues. We had Stop the Offender program come in and speak with us, our strategic response team, our canine unit. Everybody loves when the canine comes in and does the demonstrations.
Sonic's the most popular
Sonic
officer.
is the most popular officer that we have, right? Everybody loves to watch him go. We talked about functions of patrol. We talk about traffic stops. We put you through mock traffic stops so that you can see maybe a little bit of what it's like to be in a police officer's shoes on those traffic stops. Again, mock traffic stops. But we give you just a little bit of taste of what an officer may feel whenever they're going through something like that.
That to me honestly would be one of the hardest parts of the job because you see what happens in the news on some of these stops and some of the violent reactions that can happen. And I just... It takes some sort of courage, is the only word I can think of, to walk up to a car, and 99 times out of 100, they'll just hand you the license. But sometimes they ain't quite so friendly.
Sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and so that'd be a hard part of the job.
Of course, it is. It's one of the hardest part of jobs that we do.
Well, because if you go into a situation like you get a call for there's a violent disturbance at this house, you're kind of prepared for it.
Sure.
But these kind of stops here are usually pretty routine. But that one time that it's not routine, it could be pretty scary.
Well, one of the biggest differences between what you mentioned and the traffic stop. The traffic stop, you don't know what that driver's feeling at the time that you're stopping them. You don't know what you're walking into.
Happy,
They're certainly not going to be happy, of course.
Yeah,
but there could be other factors under there.
I try to be polite. I haven't gotten a ticket. I got a ticket in Crowley here about a few months ago. That kind of bugged me. But what am I going to do? I mean, I was going like 8 miles over the speed limit, and I was irritated. But what I'm going to do? Take it out on the officer? I mean, it's not. That's not going to help. So
right.
We made sure to tell our citizens this morning. We're saying by not saying that as you're traveling down Renfro today, just to remember to read your speed signs.
Well, I've seen plenty of officers having their consultations with the drivers on Renfro.
I mean, you should wave at anybody that may be on a police motorcycle or a vehicle as you drive past them at your safe rate of speed.
And I will say, just the fact that I may know some of the police officers does not cut me any slack. So we know how to spell your name, absolutely, as I write it out, the ticket, or whatever. So yeah. Remember that C you gave me? Well, go ahead. I'm taking your time.
No, you're fine. Absolutely. So a couple other things that we talk about is CRAZE, which is civilian response to an active shooter event. We have our crisis negotiations teams. They come and visit with us. Our SWAT team, they come and visit with us. We learn building searches. So we put you through some building searches, put you in our shoes as well. Criminal investigations team comes down and visit with us. And we have a drone and simulator night as well, where we actually put you through a little bit of what we go through in our simulator.
One thing Christy pointed out when she was going through the training is they had a plain clothes officer come in and about frisking procedures, and he said, I have 41 contraband items on me. And they're like, he just looked normal, right? He didn't he didn't come in all equipped with a vest and and rifle or anything like that. And he started just taking off items in his clothing that he had hidden about how subtle or how sneaky, if you will, some of these perpetrators can be. And so just because they look like they're unarmed, they may very well not be. So she said that was very enlightening to her. And
it could be something as large as a pistol, right? Or something as small as a handcuff key.
Right.
Because we consider that contraband,
Yeah, handcuff key, she just said the officer's pulling stuff out of his collars, out of his belt, out of his boot heel, just about everything you think of to find a piece of contraband.
Right.
So it was, she said that was very enlightening.
I will definitely say, as somebody that came over from City Hall over to PD, you need to spend time with our officers. It is amazing to see the amount of different organizations within the department and what they do and how they are strategically planned to take care of certain items. It's not just the wonderful officers that may have a conversation with you through your window as you may be increasing your speed in Crowley, obviously, because you wouldn't do that in Burleson. But no. that's just the tip of the iceberg as far as the police department is concerned. And programs like this, where you're able to come in and you're able to see on a firsthand basis the stress that these officers go through and the amount of training that they go through, and it really does open your eyes and your mind to what our officers deal with on a daily basis.
And we talked about that as well last show because of the stress. I mean, as much as I like to joke about it, when I went to school as a teacher, the likelihood of me coming home is about 100%, right? And, even with what you hear about in the news these days. But with the police officer, every day is always that risk, rather, I don't know, opportunity is the word I want to use, but the risk involved that this may be a bad day.
It could be any day.
Any day. And so the stress it puts on the families, I know, is substantial.
Sure.
Because like I mentioned before, I have some ex-students, and I would know some acquaintances that are police officers in various departments, and their wives or husbands will tell you it crosses their mind. even though they don't want to think about it all the time. Does this kind of situation ever involve people in the cops program? These kind of, shall we say, amped up situations?
So as far as the cops program goes, it's the training that our cops members get is strictly to when we get to the cops program is strictly to observe and report, be the extra eyes of the police department. We do not ask them to get into any sort of that kind of a situation. As a matter of fact, we say that they need to stay away from that. It's strictly how to observe and report, how to be our extra eyes, how to do neighborhood patrols, how to look for suspicious activity, things of that nature, but to then report it back to officers and or our public safety communications to get an officer dispatched to the location.
Wait, do you have some more? Did you want to go over this?
Sure. Yeah.
Slide?
Just real quickly with the Citizen Police Academy. All of these divisions that come and visit for our Citizen Police Academy, we try to get instructors from those divisions to come and talk about this. So the expert, if you will, I mean, it would be pretty tedious if you're just listening to me talk about this for 7 weeks, right? But no, we get people from these divisions to come out and give you a glimpse into their world, into their expert world there. So it's a great program. We love doing it. We love giving this information to the community. We love being open and transparent with you guys. If you want to learn about us, this is a great opportunity to do so.
Well, from what I understand also, I was in the impression before I met Christy and Vicky last Thursday is that I thought this would be probably have people that had relatives on the force, or maybe their spouses on the force, or maybe they were former officers, but it's just a whole cross section of the community.
Sure.
I mean, so prior law enforcement relationships or experience is not even a requirement at all, is it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
If you just want to learn about your local police department, or even if it's not your local police department, we have people that come in from not within Burleson to come through this program just to see what a police department does. You know, and we can only give you what we do, but at the same time, I mean, if you're interested, come and check us out.
Collin, you done this?
I have not, but it's actually on my list to do. The good thing is that since I have an inside, I get to actually go and see these things and do all this stuff. And
I know when you came over from the city, there was a lot of stuff. They said, "Okay, you're going to work for the police. You're going to go through this, this, and this."
It really is a peeling back, kind of like an onion. You just kind of keep peeling back layer after layer after layer. And I've been introduced to so many of the different divisions and departments inside of PD, and there still are some that I look at and I'm like, I don't really know what you do, and I get to spend some time with each of them, and it does. It's really interesting to see that it's just not the guy writing you a ticket. I mean, and I think the large majority of the population probably just sees that aspect. But to see our strategic response team, the SRT, to see what K9 does. Each of them have their own roles and responsibilities, and without them, it does not create. The PD can't be as strong as it is without those divisions.
Right.
So yeah, it's absolutely amazing, and I would definitely suggest, just from the small amount that I get to see on a daily basis with work, I would suggest any citizen that is interested in knowing more about the police department, what they go through, how to support them. To join one of these programs, because it really does open your mind.
Well, I just would think that, your situation reminded me of like when I became a teacher. I had all these trainings I had to do, and I still had to do them, and I still do them now for Dallas Baptist and for Hill, and so it never ends. But I just don't know, they kind of dump. Oh, here's a bunch of stuff for you to do for the next, and we have 20 minutes to do it.
There's a lot to dump in, but I have Jay and Joe and Vance, who are our CROs at the PD, and those guys they're a wealth of knowledge, and they've done really good to kind of hold my hand through a lot of these processes, because I say a lot of goofy civilian things, and they chuckle at me and they pat me on the head, and then they help me out the door.
Here's how we need to,
no, we don't use those terms. That's not what we say. And then, I feel like a third grader. But hey, I'm learning. So one day I'll graduate up to fifth
What terms
grade,
can you not use?
it's just the normal vernacular. We had all right. I'm going to throw this one out there. We Yes, Taylor. Actually, you might want to be on that button here pretty soon.
Just make sure it works.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just normal looking at a situation and saying, "Oh, this is what it is." We don't use that. We don't use that nomenclature.
Well,
this is what we use it for.
Yeah, okay.
And for example, if instead of saying I talked to him, I advised him. Just different. It's the same thing, but it's different.
I guess
Just the way we talk.
Just semantics.
It's
I
just
guess.
the way we talk.
Well, no, okay. Well, so after you go through this program, what's
Sure.
next?
So after you go through this program, you have a couple of options for yourself. You can then join the CPAAA, which is the Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association.
Right.
So you've gone through the academy. Now you have a chance to join the Alumni Association if you so choose. And that's what Christy and Vicky were up here talking about
Right.
This past Thursday. You also have the opportunity to then get involved with COPS, our Citizens on Patrol services. And what we do here is we actually run you through a program which is about as long as a CPA, about as long as the Citizen Police Academy, to then become a fully fledged volunteer with the police department. You get access cards, the whole thing. But basically what the COPS program does, what the COPS Academy does, is it takes a deeper dive into the police department. We go even deeper in. We start to learn how to think like an officer by learning criminal law, excuse me, by spotting suspicious behavior, learning how to listen to the police radio and conduct radio transmissions, because we actually give you a radio in which to use if you so happen upon a suspicious activity or something that seems nefarious in nature, where you can then report it straight to our officers on our radio channel. So we go over that, learning how to listen to the radio and conducting radio transmissions. We learn the value of CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. We learn from our volunteer FTOs, field training officers, on what to expect when you finally get on the road. We actually have two COPS, we call them COPS vehicles, in which you can do your neighborhood patrols in. They're marked. They have yellow lights. So as you're doing neighborhood patrols, you're not doing it in your own vehicles. We actually have police marked vehicles in which you can do that in. And we do it in uniform as well. So at that point in time, that's how we get you there. And you can actually take this COPS Academy. If you want to learn all these things, you can take the COPS Academy and still not become a volunteer with the police department if you don't want to, but if you just want it for your own knowledge as well. But it really is geared towards becoming a volunteer
I would think
with
that's
the PD.
the end goal. Why would they go through this? Because it's very extensive. It's not like
it is.
filling out a form and hit submit button.
Sure. Yeah, it is, and it can be. But even if you just want the knowledge for yourself, that's okay too.
You say, do you have uniforms? You mentioned, I know they have the vests, yellow vests and whatnot.
Yeah,
But
we do have uniforms that the police department provides. Some of the items we do ask that the volunteers provide some of their own items as well, but some of the items are also provided along with the vehicle in which to do the patrols in.
Well, Sherry Scott says she saw some of your COPS people at the Bunny Days event.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of thing you'll take care of. It isn't
Exactly.
like you're not so much there for, busting the door down and all this other stuff. It's a lot of, I've seen these people in the yellow vest for, city events, a lot of stuff at the plaza. Or, I know that a lot of groups in town avail themselves of COPS observers.
Yes.
So when they have their, fundraising events, whatever. So I've seen them pretty often.
Sure. And they help us so much with all the events that we put on, even whether it's manning a barricade at a parade or it's helping to shuttle people back and forth at the 4th of July parade that may need some extra help getting back and forth from their car. They do an awful lot for us, and they do it on their own time, and we absolutely couldn't do this without them.
And yes, and so the main duty of after they've gone through all this process, get their uniform, get a badge of sorts, probably a communication device of some sort. Then do they have like regular shifts or scheduled shifts, or they just do it when they can get around to it, kind of thing?
They do it when they can.
So I mean, if they're not available this Saturday night, then it's not like they're it's some sort of problem. I mean, they do it as they can do it.
They do it as they can do it. We do ask that they ask that they conduct at least one 4-hour patrol a month and work a minimum of one event a quarter.
That's not very demanding.
And that's what we ask.
That's really not. I mean, I bet you get more response than that, though. I bet a lot of these people probably put in more than just 4 hours.
Of course.
Yeah.
We've got some cops members going out for weekly 4-hour shifts, and sometimes they push it to 6. That's okay. And we do it in shifts, or we do it in pairs. I'm sorry. We do it in pairs. So you've always got at least one other cops member with you at one time. So
do they have like certain areas they patrol? Like you have, like police officers do. They have their beats, so to speak. Sure. Do these cops participants have their beats, or they could just say, today I'm going to spend 2 hours, on the west side of Burleson, because I hear there's stuff going on there.
Sure. Well,
so they could choose where they want to go. Or do you have them say, no, if you're going to do this, we'd like for you to be in this part of town?
So every time they come in for their shift, they're required to check in with the sergeant that's command the shift at the time that they're going to their shift, and the sergeant will then give them some direction, whether if we need them to do director patrols in Old Town, for example, or on the west side of town, or the east side of town, or wherever that we might need them to be directed at. They would get that information from the sergeant that's over the shift, but otherwise. It's neighbor patrols, things of that nature, or businesses as well.
Yes, and we were talking before the show about we're expanding as a community, and with that comes a lot of good things, but it also comes with more crime. And you're telling me that the property crime issue is probably the number one issue. So let's put a cop in that situation. I mean, one of your citizen patrol.
Sure.
Okay. How would they be involved in something like that? I mean, let's say I'm a member of this organization. I'm on patrol.
Okay.
And I hear about, on the radio that there's been a break-in somewhere. What would my responsibility be?
So if we were having some property crime issues, say at a business plaza or an apartment complex or a neighborhood, for example, that sergeant would then direct that cops member just to do some patrols there. Look for anything that you might find suspicious. And it's in addition to our regular police patrols also. So we're working in concert with the police department, right? So should they find anything or should they see something that maybe looks suspicious, they're directed to observe from afar. Right, we're not putting you in anything or trying not to put you as best we can in anything that's unsafe. We don't want you to do that. What we want you to do is, if you feel safe watching from afar, to report it to Public Safety Communications, and you can do that with either your phone or we also train you how to use the radio. You can get an officer to your location. By using the radio, by just, hey, here's my location, here's what I'm seeing. Probably want to have an officer come over here and check it out. The officer will respond.
Now, let's say we're patrolling somewhere, some neighborhood in Burleson, and I hear over the radio that there's something going on, a possible break-in and entering, or a domestic dispute or something like that. Am I required, asked, or expected to, divert from what I'm doing and go and be there for that event, or should I just continue my own patrol?
As a cops member or as a police officer?
Well, as a police officer, we know you're going to be there.
Right.
But as far as, but I'm talking about I'm a civilian patrol, and whatnot, and I'm doing this neighborhood, and I hear about 5 blocks away there's a domestic dispute going on. Am I to divert from what I'm doing and go over there?
No.
Just keep on my own patrol.
Keep on patrol. Now, again, we teach you how to listen to the radio and do the radio transmissions. So absolutely, you can listen to what's going on over the radio. But no, again, your duties are observing and reporting, looking for other things. Because now we have officers over here trying to handle this issue here. We may have something else kick off over here where the police department is not. So
it can't be everywhere, right?
We can't be everywhere, and that's where our cops volunteers come in.
I've seen a lot of cops volunteers at auto wrecks, helping direct traffic, or
Yes.
And then of course, Collin has brought Stephanie Beard on the show a couple times, and then they have victims assistance. Which, by the way, I'd like to divert just for a second. I got a really nice message from Sherry Scott, and she said that she had her first experience with Stephanie Beard over to victim assistance. You know, Sherry does those blessing boxes,
Right.
And she was highly complimentary about that victims assistance program that y'all been putting together.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Sherry. That's it's the program is going good. Actually, we're smack dab in the middle. Sidebar here conversation, but we're actually right in the middle of refreshing and renewing the program. We got a lot of feedback. We took our posters down to One Safe Place in Fort Worth, and we spoke with them about it. They actually took our one of our posters out to one of their. They have a night where they have some survivors that get together. They talk about different issues that are going on. They brought the poster out. They laid it down and said, "Tell us what you like and don't like about it." And I'll be 100% honest. It got ripped to shreds pretty good.
Your poster did?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But look, I'm not the expert in this. These ladies, they had a lot of suggestions. We'll put it that way. But the suggestions that they had were really, really good. And the one positive that came out of that is they kept saying, Burleson's actually doing something. You know, there's nothing like this going on anywhere else in the Metroplex. Even One Safe Place, as amazing as they are, they started complimenting us because they said, well, we haven't even thought about QR codes. We're so used to just saying, hey, if you're in trouble, call us. And how this takes it to a totally different level, because our society now has gone away from a phone conversation to digital communication back and forth. So we're actually reshooting the photos for the poster, changing up some wording on it, updating the QR code. It'll still go to the same place, but it gives us a little bit more ability to see and understand where people are scanning it from. So it's kind of the Victims Assistance Posters 2.0. So it's an improvement, and there's been just rave reviews on the existence of it. There are just some ways for us to make it better.
You think you'll be prepared the next time we meet on the show?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that we want to do. We're actually doing a photo shoot in the beginning of April, so sometime after that.
Yeah, I'm pretty booked up. It's election season and nonprofit season, so our next show we'll find a time.
Sounds good.
Talk about that.
Sounds good. I also have a couple of detectives I like to bring by and
No problem.
talk about some stuff. So I got plenty of content for you, Brad.
Yeah, it's
got
good.
Plenty of stuff for you.
Particularly in the summer. I need content in the summer. A lot of people are unavailable because they're on vacation or whatever they're doing. So, back to cops though. Anyway,
Sure.
So, let's say you have a wreck on Wilshire, which is not uncommon, I bet.
Sure.
Do calls, say, hey, I need a couple of cops, volunteers. And and they call at the home and say, hey, are you available to come on out here and help us with traffic? I mean, they may just be sitting there and watching TV or something like that. Are they somewhat like on call, or do you have people that are making themselves available at a moment's notice like that?
So if the cops members are already out, if they're already on their doing a patrol shift, they can be asked to come and assist with traffic control on wrecks. Now, we try to stay away from Wilshire and the freeway just because of the safety aspect of it, for sure. It's they can with very strict observation by the police officers there, but we try to stay away from Wilshire and the freeway because it can get unsafe out there.
Yes.
But anywhere else around town, they have been asked to assist with traffic control on wrecks before, and we do get that training again in our Cops Academy and continuing training as well. Our cops, once they're a part of the program, we do at least a once a month training for them, and it can the subject matter ranges from several different things, from iPad training to traffic control training to suspicious activity, just continuing training to kind of keep up to snuff, if you will.
Well, I just wonder if I'm sitting around watching a ball game when I'm a cops member and then we have some wreck or something like that.
Sure.
Is it possible to get a call and say, hey, are you busy? Yeah, we could use some help.
There's a very slim possibility, but I'm not going to say it's not possible because it has happened before. We've had intersections before go down as far as power outages, and we've had to have officers out there directing traffic there. Well, we've had cops members step up and come in and assist us with that.
Do y'all work with the schools also? I know we have resource officers,
Yeah.
but I just wonder if you like school events, like a ball game or I don't know, some sort of band competition. I wonder if will cops have a presence there?
Not as much anymore because of the presence of our SROs, but so not as much anymore. No.
Okay, well, where I see them, almost always is city-related events.
Correct.
And sometimes not even not so much in like an event, but just like certain times. I mean, I don't hang around Old Town very much. I'm an old man. I don't go to Old Town Friday nights. That's a young person's thing. But I have been there on a Friday evening, and I've seen a couple of them just walking a beat, so to speak.
Sure.
And because I'm sure as that part of the community grows and it's getting to be more active, and you have more participants down there, and the businesses are growing, restaurants and bars and whatnot. I'm sure the need for that kind of observation grows as well.
There may be more of a need for that, and where they come into play as far as Old Town goes is the events that are hosted down there. For example, Hot Sounds of Summer. They'll be out there every weekend for the Hot Sounds of Summer events, helping the officers. With crowd control, things like that.
I've seen them on a couple of the Saturday events we've had out there, like what's it even in October? Founders Day?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's in October. I've seen them there. I've seen them at 4th of July events. I've seen them just about at the Christmas parade.
Christmas parade,
Christmas and 4th of July. My goodness, they're invaluable.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I knew who they were, but I always kind of wondered, are they just, friends of the police force? And here's your vest, and help keep a lid on things. But after talking to you and talking to Christy and Vicky, it's like, no, this is serious training here. This isn't just some, go out there and have a good time. I mean, they take it really seriously. Yeah. They have to complete all this training to be able to do what they're doing.
They do, and they're citizens that feel like they want to do something and give something back to their community. And again, we wouldn't be as successful without them. At these events, we just wouldn't.
How many people participate in this program?
So right now in our program, we have roughly 20 full-fledged members. We've got a couple more going through their FTO phases as well. But I believe right now we have 20 full-fledged members.
And is that an adequate number, or would you like more?
We'll always like more.
Okay. Well, but are you able to take care of what you want? But I guess if you had 100, you'd have every street in Burleson patrolled.
Well, yeah, there's that, and it may get a little bit more cumbersome. But hey, bring on the challenge.
Well, yeah, that's it. It's a good problem to have. It'd have too many people.
Yes.
But to go through this process, you have to be pretty committed. I mean, it didn't sound like you don't do this on a lark. You do this because you have to ask them, but they have to be very community oriented, let's say the least.
Yes.
To really care about the community they live in, to be able to do all this stuff.
And I would definitely say when I came into PD, I kind of thought the same thing as you did it right at the beginning. Oh, these are somebody's friends. They just wear a yellow vest and they drive around a car, and it's not that serious. As I've been going further in my career at PD, they are absolutely loved by the police. I mean, I did not realize the how cohesive these two groups are, and they're very well loved, but they're also very well protected. The moment they get on the radio, our officers are immediately there. It's not even an afterthought. So it's one of those things that if you're wanting to go through the program, but then you're also a little nervous about how am I going to be looked at when I'm over there. These guys and gals, they're absolutely adored over there, and I see them all the time over in the patrol area, and they're just they're having conversation with our officers, and yeah, I mean, it's a great program, and they're definitely well loved and taken care of.
How long has this program been around? I know it's been more than a few years, because like I mentioned, when I was still at the high school, some of those explorers were involved in it. But how long has this program been around?
It's been around since the mid 2000s, I think around 2005, 2006. I'll bet you Vicky could tell you.
Yeah.
But,
well, I think
right
she said.
her hand,
I think she said 07, but I've slept since then. So
sure.
Yeah. But do other communities have this?
Other communities do have them. I don't know to what extent, but But I do know that other communities do have.
Well, they also told me that other communities come to y'all and see how y'all do things.
Some have.
Some have come from neighboring communities and say, hey, we hear you have a really rock solid program. We want to emulate some of that.
Sure.
And so y'all are kind of on the cutting edge, I suppose.
We try to be, and there is also conferences, that are held. I think once a year we have the Citizens on Patrol Association, the conferences that come up, and we're able to go to those and share ideas, things of that nature. People that already have COPS programs that go to the conference, people that want to start COPS programs, PDs that want to start them go to the conference, and there's a bunch of information on how to do that there too.
So you get to go on a trip in the summer, I guess.
Sure.
Where's it this summer?
I don't know that it's been planned just yet. The COPS conference,
right?
But I think that one's the one that starts it. And sometimes I get them mixed up, but I think that's the one that comes up in September.
In September, okay. Well, San Antonio's good.
Sure.
No, with y'all's luck, it'll be in Waxahachie or something like that.
It's not as good of a river walk in Waxahachie.
Yeah, I know. Well, Waco's building one, so.
Oh, well, that's very true.
Yeah, so, but you never know. But it just, that sounds like fun, but, you're there for serious business.
Sure.
And so we were talking earlier before the show about how we expanded. Are you in the police department itself overall? Are you having to deal with certain types of crimes more and more often than you used to?
I don't know. I think it's
stats, but it's
no,
fine.
You're okay. Yeah, we definitely don't have any of that information right in front of me. But I mean, it's I think it's safe to say it's at least proportional to the size of the town, right? We're not seeing anything more or less than anybody else. Maybe crime is crime, and it's unfortunately everywhere. But we have our fair share to deal with too.
Well, it's just as we grow, everything grows, including crime and also homelessness. We talked about that before the show. I talked to the nonprofits quite a bit, and they said that's just doesn't seem to be slowing down. It seems to be picking up. People living out of their cars mostly, but we are starting to hear talk about tent communities, so to speak, in certain areas of town, wooded areas and, within our community that you wouldn't think to look, but there they are.
Right.
And so I just wonder if that's becoming more and more of an issue for y'all as well.
It's something that we're starting to see, no doubt, but, we will deal with it as it comes as well.
Yeah.
You asked about the number of changes, and I'd be amiss if I didn't say our 2023-24 annual report will be coming out here soon. We're actually just got an email from the printer, so they're printing those off, so those will be available, and it actually has all that information in there.
Well, bring it with you next time.
Sure,
so
absolutely. I'll bring you a free copy.
No, free copy.
Yeah, it won't cost you a dime.
That's good.
It doesn't cost anybody else a dime either,
Yeah, that's
but
good.
it won't cost you one.
All right. Do you get a lot of people that ask for that? I bet realtors do.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I talked to some realtors. I have had them on the show and whatnot, and they'll say the three things that always brings people to looking at Burleson is schools, cops, and business opportunities. And since we have such a good reputation in those areas, I mean, seriously, gentlemen, the Burleson Police has a very good reputation in this DFW area for professionalism and getting things done and whatever else and response and all this. And so people, when they start calculating whether or not to move to Burleson, the schools and the police are almost one of the, they both go pretty close together. And then they'll worry, and then they'll worry about is there restaurants or whatever else. But they're coming here in part because of y'all.
People want to feel safe.
Yeah, they do.
Absolutely.
And I really do believe that Burleson is well policed. You can't. It's hard to prevent crime, but I think y'all respond to it pretty well. I just wonder as we grow if it's a race to keep up.
And it can be, but it's a task that I think that we are prepared to take head on. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. As far as the COPS program, what would you like to see happen within the next couple of years?
Let's keep growing.
Keep growing. You want more people.
let's keep growing. Absolutely. And that and the COPS COPS program will come. Sure. Yeah.
Right.
This is the way that you can get signed up for it. And you're actually signing up for the Citizen Police Academy first. And then from there, we feed into our Cops Academy. But I would just say if any of your viewers out there, if you want to know more about what we're doing, you know, behind the curtain, if you will, you know, if you want to get a picture of Oz back there, right? Just sign up for the class. It's informational. There's no other commitment other than your time. It's we start on June 6th this year. It's every Thursday through the end of July from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We take off the week of July 4th because it's July 4th.
Sure.
And actually, I think this year, July 4th is on a Thursday this year. So,
I think so.
It
says it on our poster, so hopefully it is.
So
If not, I got to reprint.
Right?
So
yeah, right. But it's every Thursday starting June 6th, 6 to 9 p.m. And you know, we've got a great program lined up, making some tweaks to it to make it even better this year. So we just if you want the information, it's there. We are happy to give it to you.
So, Brad, let me ask you a question. Sure. How can I get you to sign up for our Citizens Police Academy?
But do you have to? That's a question I was actually going to ask.
Sure.
Do you have to live in Burleson to be part of it? Because I live in the country.
You do not. Even if you just want the information on a police department, you can sign up.
We will take people from the country, as back hills as they probably are.
Oh, yeah.
We will take people from the country.
I live about 1/8 of a mile outside the city limits.
Yeah,
so we're not talking about out in the sticks.
That's okay.
We usually turn our nose up to you.
Yeah,
but,
that's right. So
for this one, you're good.
Okay. You know, you get people coming in and say, "Do I get to arrest people? Do I get the right tickets? Do I get to carry a gun?"
No, we don't get to do all that.
Totally different academy. You have to go through.
Academy you got to go through for that. Yeah.
So maybe they need to know that this isn't going to be like what they see on TV.
It's not the CPA, the Citizen Police Academy, is a lot of it is for informational purposes, but we are going to do some hands-on things. Like I said, we're going to put you in the shoes of the officer for building searches, for traffic stops, for things of that nature. We're going to do as much hands-on as we can. When CID comes down, they bring things that we can take fingerprints with. We do as much hands-on as we can, but we're also going to get a lot of information from it as well.
Give a definition of CID real quick. Give the definition of CID.
Criminal Investigations Division, excuse me.
But Jackie Jones.
It's that cop talk, right?
Jackie Jones says, "Thank you for your service."
Thank you very much, Jackie. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know why we're not getting on the screen, but I don't know, it doesn't matter. But it's fine. So as far as this is the last few minutes,
Sure.
why don't y'all take the floor and kind of summarize everything that you want the people to know about the COPS program?
Okay. The COPS program itself, again, it's the feeder. The COPS Academy is the feeder from the Citizen Police Academy. You decide that you like the academy so much that you want to just continue on. Even if you go, you can even go into the CPA knowing that you'd like to volunteer with the police department, but this is where you have to springboard from. So you do have to sign up for the CPA first, and then you springboard into the COPS Academy after that, and then you go through all the training to become a full-fledged volunteer with the police department. We're looking for people that want to give back to their community, that want to donate their time to it. And again, we could not be as successful as we are at these events, on these crashes, on these things. Everything that the cops do for us, there's no way that we could be as successful as we are without them.
I think Burleson really has that kind of spirit of community, because I talked to the nonprofits and I talked to y'all and other groups like that, and it seems like there are just a lot of people willing to invest themselves into this community.
Sure.
And that's a great thing to have.
We have a really, really amazing supporting community.
Yeah, right. And the same with the school systems.
Absolutely.
It's like a lot of people really do, from all the various areas, seem to make this community worth living in.
Sure.
And y'all are a big piece of that. Yeah. You got things to add, sir?
I would say a couple of weeks ago we had the Burleson Citizens 101 Academy come through, and they got a 4,000-foot high view of kind of the CPA. I got to speak to different departments or different divisions inside the department. Got to see some of the toys that these officers have to utilize. But one of the most eye openers was when we took them all upstairs for the simulator, and we had one of our officers run through the simulator, and the fact that the simulator is a no holds barred. I mean, it gives you a good scenario of what these officers have to go through on a traffic stop or getting called out to a situation. And being able to sit back and watch the crowd versus watching the screen and see the reactions on people's faces as our officer is trying to diffuse a situation, you just don't understand what these officers go through until you get that little small hint of kind of what you were saying earlier. Every single day, you don't know what's going to happen, and some of those simulator situations are really, they're calm. You go in, they diffuse the situation, they use their tactics to kind of talk down a suspect, and then there's some simulator situations that are, man, nope, not for me. I like my little shirt of power. I don't like a badge and a gun. I'm cool with just saying, hey, I'm with those guys. But yeah, what they can deal with, and it's these academies that we provide that helps open up the eyes of our citizens. So I would say, again, if you're just somebody who's interested in knowing what our officers go through on a daily basis, this is a perfect opportunity for you to go through.
Well, I really appreciate y'all showing up. I mean, I appreciate. Hey, Taylor, I went dead for a minute. I thought, what did I say? You're going to mute me already? Yeah, I'm just going to say thank you for all you do, not just for the program, but for our community.
Of course.
And I look forward to seeing you again, Collin, next time.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
Will probably within a month, I'm sure.
Sounds like a plan.
And I hope the best for your program. It's a great program, and and I hope it expands, grows, and becomes even more of a known presence in this community.
Well, we have one extra signing up already. So
Taylor, you signed up.
hey, all right.
There you go.
He can ride around that Tesla of his. Anyway,
Why are we laughing?
I don't know. Thursday have Megan Swearingen. I keep calling her Hollowell because that's her maiden name. Megan Swearingen and Summer Garcia is going to be here for Next Step Women's Center, and then Friday we have Victoria on. And I'll ask her about some of these issues as well. And
Excellent.
So I'm looking forward to seeing you. And before you leave, we'll hook up a date.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you, officer. I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank you
see
for
you
having
all
me.
next week. All right.